I'm Jake Hoffman.
And this is Moderately Outraged. With the Super Bowl here in Tampa this week, Florida man has been at his finest. But he's also been proving that we've been doing COVID right the entire time. And later in the episode, we'll get into Trump's historic impeachment acquittal. But first, if you can't tell by our outfits, the Bucs are Super Bowl champions. And as a Tampa Bay native, I remember how happy I was when they won in 2003. And I've been overjoyed to finally be able to say after 18 long years that the Bucs are Super Bowl champions again. So, but like everything with sports nowadays, there's always a little bit of politics that has to be involved.
Yeah, and that's why we get to talk about it during this show, is because it's not just a Super Bowl, it's not just any old Super Bowl, it is a COVID-19 Super Bowl, a 2021 politics Super Bowl, and all the headlines I kept seeing as the Super Bowl weekend started and after the game were all about how terrible we are down here. Condemning us, making fun of us, telling us about how we're about to kill the entire nation. And it was just very, very negative headlines by a bunch of bloggers up in New York who didn't actually come down here. They just sit in their basements and then say everything we're doing down here is terrible. So I wrote an article this week, actually. It came out on BizPack Review. I will link it down in the comments. But I was angry about it because we lived it. We celebrated nonstop, basically, for almost 7 days. And a lot of the things they're saying was true. We were irresponsible. We were not wearing masks. We were going out. We were in large crowds. We were at bars. People were climbing trees. They were doing all of the things that you saw.
There was a streaker during the game.
Yeah, he was becoming a legend. But I was just upset about hearing how they're talking about Florida, because it's not that we're the bane of America's existence. What we're actually doing is we're saving the country by showing people that the pandemic is not as bad as people are making it out to be. Lockdowns do not work. We are going to reach herd immunity way faster than everybody else around the world, really. What you're seeing is COVID numbers that are pretty much in line with the rest of the country. And that looks terrible on the rest of the country. That looks terrible on the Biden administration. It looks terrible on every Democratic mayor and governor that has shut down their state, because their citizens are traveling here and seeing video here of their friends that live here, and they're saying, wait, everyone in Tampa's not dead? Why can't we live like that? Why can't we open back up?
People are walking around taking pictures going, look at someone at a restaurant. Acting like they just got out of prison. And honestly, to them, it feels like that. I've talked to people from all over the country this week, and they said, they're like, I wish it was like this for us back home. And it's ridiculous. And what's crazy to really think about is, like he said, our numbers aren't higher than the rest of the countries.
They're actually better than a lot of places. We have more people vaccinated here than a lot of the states in this entire country by per capita, and we have the most elderly that are vaccinated because of the decisions that were made.
Oh, and that's what I was going to get into, is that you would think that with Florida having such large numbers of retired people and elderly people living in the state, that there would be more deaths. But from the beginning, Governor Desantis did it right. He didn't send elderly people like Governor Cuomo did back to their nursing homes to spread it around to everybody else and to die there. That's what Governor Cuomo did.
And then hide the numbers. Because that's what came out this week, is that he was hiding all the numbers and he downplayed how many people it actually was.
Exactly. So I'm hoping there'll be an investigation into Cuomo. But, like everything with the media, Cuomo is being given an Emmy, and you're just hearing headlines about how Florida is going to be the super spreader for the entire nation.
Yeah, and look, we didn't even get to have a real parade down here. Our mayor shut down our parade, made sure that it was a boat parade, which was a lot of fun, by the way, still, for people that were able to participate. But a lot of people were not able to participate because they don't have boats. And
it was on a Wednesday. One of the best parts about the Bucs winning back in 2003 was being able to celebrate as a kid. And for the kids who were robbed of that experience due to Jane Castor not wanting to take the heat from the liberal media,
national media,
that is unfair to them. You could have done this on a weekend, especially when the kids had a 5-day weekend. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and so you probably saw all of the videos of Tom Brady drunk throwing the Lombardi trophy from boat to boat.
If you haven't, check them out. They're great.
You probably saw the big crowds of people on boats really enjoying themselves. And again, this is normal. This is what normal looks like. And one of the things I said in my article was that we had a weekend that was so beautiful because people who were from all different walks of life, people who were maybe marching in BLM protests, people that voted for Trump, people that have all different political affiliations, came together around a sporting event, even though, again, limited seating and all that other stuff. They came together in this city and they had a great time. And for about a week now, COVID hasn't really existed here. I mean, it didn't exist for a long time in the last 8 months if you've been to Florida, but it's been an electric feeling, and it's been a very unified feeling that this country does still have hope and we can rally around some form of, single unified reason.
And just around joy and happiness and fun. Fun feels like something that was a concept that was forgotten about in 2020. Like, fun died in that election year. I mean, it really did. And it's because of the way that the media fear-mongered every single day. They made you feel like you were that the world was going to end. So the world was going to end for some reason or another tomorrow. And that's all they have. And that's what they keep having to do.
Yeah, so luckily we have Governor Desantis here who has probably quotes of the year so far in 2021 because he, again, is defending this. In all of that, this great week that we've had, this momentous occasion has been because of the fact that we have a governor who stands up for his people and comes out and says things like, well, why weren't you wearing a mask at the Super Bowl? And his response was, well, how am I going to drink a beer? I mean,
that's almost, and that quote gotta be one of my favorite quotes by a Republican. Other than maybe, Brett Kavanaugh, whatever you think of him, it's a great quote when he said, I drank beer. I liked beer. I still like beer. Both of those quotes speak to my soul. They really do.
And so I'm so happy that we have a governor that enables this. And I know that a lot of people in other states are looking, going, man, I wish I had a governor like that. And which is why he's going to win in a landslide in 2022. And he's probably going to run for president in the future at some point as well. And he'll get my vote, that's for sure. But what really needs to be talked about, because what's really scary about this is that when you have a rising star in the Republican Party, when you have a state that makes all of the other states look bad, well, what do you get? You get the Joe Biden, I wanted to curse at him, but like the Joe Biden administration who comes in and says things like, oh, we're considering a travel ban to Florida. A travel ban to one single state out of the 50 states of the United States of America. Because what? Because we're living down here? Because we don't force people to sit in their houses and we don't make them wear 2 or 3 masks at a time? Well,
which by the way, is an asinine concept. I mean, did anybody ever tell you to wear 2 condoms at a time? Have you ever heard that in any health class? If you have, they definitely were teaching it wrong because it's not going to work.
But now, yes, all of a sudden in 2021, 2, 3, 4 masks, just keep putting it on. Nothing. It's going to make it better. But the point is that this is something that should be historically looked at, that you can't, from the federal government, come in and ban intercommerce, in interstate commerce, and you can't ban travel, and you can't do that kind of thing to a single state to punish them. It doesn't even matter what your reasoning is. You can't do that.
You're essentially sanctioning a state.
But you cannot do that, and you cannot allow people to not allow people to move freely between state to state. It's a fundamental part of our Constitution in the United States of America. And there's been a lot of jokes around here that are, one of those things like Texas where it's becoming like not really so much of a joke. Like, we're ready to secede. Honestly, at this point, like, Ron, you can be our president, and we just cut a border wall right at the top of Florida, and you know what? We'll be our own country because we are happy here. We are happy here. Our people are happy here, and it's it's not my fault that the rest of the states are have terrible governors and terrible liberal policies.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I've said it before and I'll say it again, Twitter and the liberal media is running the show when it comes to COVID. Not real science, not real statistics, Twitter and outrage culture. That is what controls the entire country right now.
Yeah.
And thank God we have Ron DeSantis to say, no, I'm not going to listen to it. I'm not going to hear it. I'm going to do what's right.
Yeah, and let's talk about real statistics and real science, because that's what everyone likes to pretend to talk about. We're going to reach herd immunity here faster than anywhere else in the country, probably anywhere else in the world, because of the fact that we have people who have gone out and lived their lives for the last year or so. Really, were locked down for maybe 2 weeks to a month. We actually were closer to the 2 weeks to stop the spread here than people want to believe.
Yeah.
And not just are we going to hit herd immunity, we are going to get extra new strands, and we're going to get mutations of the virus. That's how viruses work, people. I am so sick and tired of people like Fauci going on TV and saying, oh, it's going to be 2 years, it's going to be 3 years, we can't open back up until this other strand is taken care of. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, there's a new strand of the flu every single year. Every single year. And we get another flu vaccine, another flu shot that's anywhere between 10% and 90% effective, realistically, every single year. And, if that's what COVID is, that's what COVID is. Fine. Let them act like the flu shot, but do not tell us we need to keep our entire state shut down. Do not tell our restaurants they need to be at half capacity. And tell people that they need to get the vaccine to travel and do all of those other things. Like, make recommendations, you don't make mandates. And Florida is going to be the last bastion of freedom in this country.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's like, this is what no one wants to hear. People are going to die regardless of what we do. It's serious. It's the same with the flu. It's the same with almost any other disease. People will die. And it's sad, but it's true. But at the end of the day, you can't let that fear, completely dictate public policy, and you can't let that overpower that one death is too many. That policy didn't work. I mean, even Cuomo himself said we have to start reopening at some point, or else there'll be nothing left to come back. There'll be nothing left of our state.
Yeah.
And Florida, we are at least having an economy.
We're going to rise like a phoenix, is what I think. I think Tampa is not only just going to continue winning Super Bowls because we still have Tom Brady. We are going to skyrocket out of this economically because of everybody moving here. We have the hottest real estate in the country between Tampa and Orlando. We have jobs moving here, people that have not lost their jobs. All of the money in this country is flowing into places like Florida and Texas and Phoenix and in those kind of states because we're logical and staying open. And that's going to show in the next decade while other cities literally fail, literally go bankrupt, probably have to get taken over by the federal government. And now let's talk a little bit about what the federal government's been up to.
First, I just want to say, when you have people like Joe Rogan, who has said that he's a lifelong Democrat, when you have people like Dave Chappelle, who supports the Black Lives Matter movement, but they are both standing there saying, we need to be able to work again. They're going to Austin so that they can work and perform because they have tried to take every possible precaution and they have still gotten made fun of. They've still gotten harassed for just, trying to live and make a living and do what they do. And it's like they're against that and they're against cancel culture. So it's like when you have those two people that are now being called part of like the right-wing movement, it's that we've lost, that part of the country is just living in its own world.
Yeah, and speaking of people that are living in their own world, let's look at Congress. Let's look at what's happening in the Senate this week because as of a few hours ago, Donald Trump was just acquitted for the second time during an impeachment hearing. Impeachment is no longer a historic moment. It is just a sham political maneuver.
Yeah, I mean, when Nixon was impeached, that was something that my parents told me about and said that was just a historic, absolutely glued to your chair, had to watch it. When Bill Clinton was impeached, I remember being sat down and told, you have to watch this is historical, a president is being impeached. And the first time that Trump was being impeached, we were all glued to our chairs watching it. The second time around, at this point, he's not even the president anymore, he's the former president. It's just half the country I don't even think is paying attention. If not more than that, it is just a small group of people who really, really care about ensuring that he never is able to run again. That's what this is about.
Yeah, and it's just about spite. It's about personal vendettas. It's about people who personally do not like the president that are in the Senate and in Congress. And we disgustingly had 7 Republicans who still voted to convict Donald Trump about this. You knew this was going to happen. Your Mitt Romneys, your terrible, terrible Republicans that just, again, personal vendettas, do not like this man, are going to go out and try and do everything they possibly can to hurt him. And, when comes time in 2022, 2024, these people's seats are up. People talk about leaving the Republican Party. You do not need to leave the Republican Party. We made an entire episode about this. We need to primary these people because these people are bad Republicans. They're bad, congressmen and senators, and they're bad politicians, and they need to get out.
But what they aren't, and I want to be clear about this, they're not traitors. They're not traitors for standing up and saying what they something different, and what they felt was the right decision. They have every right to do that, and if you don't agree with them, don't support their campaigns, support their opponents. That's what I have to say about that. That's the right way to do things. But
if they're going to use impeachment as a political weapon, as just part of the arsenal of political maneuvers, we should be impeaching Joe Biden. Every Republican in Congress should be asking to impeach Joe Biden. All the senators should be asking to impeach Joe Biden because Donald Trump was impeached the first time over the Russian, Ukrainian, all of this other nonsense that they found, complete witch hunt. Well, Joe Biden factually took a lot of money from China. He factually interfered in Russia and the Ukraine elections. And all of these different pieces are enough for impeachment. And then he starts to tack on all of the investigations that have been going on over the election of 2020. These are all impeachable offenses if what Trump did is an impeachable offense. So I want to see Republicans stand up and push for impeachment of Joe Biden.
There should, at the very least, an impeachment investigation, an inquiry into impeachment. Trump was impeached in Congress over his rhetoric, over something he said, over literally the debate over did he yell fire in a crowded theater, which he did not. You cannot impeach or hold liable every person that says something and then people hear them the wrong way
and react
and go do that.
Yeah. Or else Bernie Sanders should be facing jail time for the person that went and shot up the congressional baseball match. We don't hold politicians accountable for what crazy people do.
We don't hold J.D. Salinger responsible for allegedly, for the catcher and the rye being responsible for I can't remember who it was trying to assassinate Ronald Reagan. We don't hold, the author or the spokesman responsible for the actions of the person who interpreted it in a different way. He did not, what makes me really angry is when AOC sits there and says, Ted Cruz tried to have me murdered. He did not say, hey guys, go murder AOC. Yeah. If he had said that, then she'd be right. But he didn't. He's not even close. So it's just it is absolutely absurd that we did impeach someone over their rhetoric, and luckily the Senate acquitted him.
Yeah, and luckily down here in Tampa, we've been distracted and we've been having a good time. And I really just want to end this episode by saying we have another battle on top of everything else that's the most important, and that is election integrity. And this week, I put out an election integrity petition to go to the state of Florida. We are putting out there the Tampa Young Republicans organization, and it's going to reach all around the state of Florida. You hopefully will see it in other places as well. I implore you to go sign that petition to force your Republican lawmakers to take election integrity seriously. And then there is a long list of all of the things that need to be done and can be done very easily to help fortify elections, and not fortify by rigging, like fortifying elections by making them a safe, real thing that we can trust again. And I will drop the link in there for you guys, and that's really all we have this week because, again, we were kind of moderately outraged, but at the same time,
happier than most weeks.
Kind of a happy week. So thank you, Tom Brady. I will leave roses at your doorstep later this week.
Seven roses at
Thank you to all the Bucks organization, and actually thank you to Ron DeSantis and everybody else at a local level who have held their tongues or spoken out for us to allow us to live our lives over the past week and go and enjoy the Super Bowl and enjoy all the festivities.
And thank you so much, as always, to BizPac Review, Conservative News Today, and American Wire for allowing us to be on your platform. We're so grateful.
Yep.
Have a great day, everyone. This is Moderately Outraged.
Run it back.